It's HBR, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. This Saturday and Sunday shows at 6:30 and 9. It is one of the founding original members of the Beach Boys, playing at the Blue Note along with his son, Matt. It's Al Jardine, and we welcome him now here on All Things Considered. Al, are you there?
Yes, how are you?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
All Things Considered. I always like that program. Sounds great.
Thank you so much for doing this, Al. Mm-hmm. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you very much.
First, really, in a lot of ways, Al, a return, because Steve, the mystery emailer, emails lots of information about the history of anybody we're going to have on the show.
Who is that?
His name is Steve, the mystery emailer. And
okay.
So, June of 1963, did you come with the Beach Boys when they did the Honolulu Civic Auditorium?
I sure did.
And the most recent hit at that time was Surfin' USA. Also on the show, Dee Dee Sharp, Jackie DeShannon,
yep.
the Treniers. MC for the event was the late, great Tom Moffat. And you want to hear these ticket prices out?
About $1.50, weren't they?
It was $2.20, $1.45,
yep.
$1.25, and they even had a level at 90 cents.
Amazing.
No,
I didn't know the Treniers were on that show. I wish I had known that.
The Treniers, that's how you say it. Thank you.
Treniers. Yeah, because they were in the movie Rock Round the Clock. That was one of my favorite movies of all time, naturally, growing up.
Sure. And, that would make a lot of sense.
The Treniers sang the funniest damn song I've ever heard called Jump Out of the Bushes. And I'll never forget. But I didn't know they were on the darn show.
Well, that's why Steve's emails are priceless. And another part of that same show, which is unusual, it says here, in addition to their own performance, the Beach Boys were the backup band for Dee Dee and for Jackie.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
That's cool. Well, you and Steve are harmonious there.
Yeah, we went over to the other islands and backed her up.
And just one more. I know you're going to remember December 12th, 1986, and he says that the Beach Boys filmed their ABC TV special, The Beach Boys 25 Years Together, a celebration in Waikiki. You were on the lawn of the Royal Hawaiian Hotel before
yes.
a crowd of about 2,000 people. I don't know how they jammed all that in there, but the guest artists on the show included Glenn Campbell, Ray Charles, Three Dog Night, Everly Brothers, Fabulous Thunderbirds, Belinda Carlisle.
Amazing. I thought we were on a battleship, but maybe we didn't do it. I guess we didn't do it on the carrier. You know what? It's funny. We were planning to do that show in San Diego on an aircraft carrier.
Oh, wow.
But the promoter talked us into doing it in Hawaii, I guess, on the lawn.
Well, with a career like yours, Al, I am sure there has been a time that you guys have been on an aircraft carrier. But for these gigs that you're doing now, explain a little bit about the show and who you're bringing with you.
Well, I'm bringing one person with me.
Your son, Matt. That is going to be an intimate show.
It's a storytelling tour. It's a mixture of stories and songs and the history of those songs, but not necessarily the performance that you would expect from the Brian Wilson Band or the Beach Boys, for that matter. I start from the very first song. I explain how we made that first song with the Beach Boys, and that we evolve into the different eras, over the last 50 years, 55 years now, my God. But it's really fun. It's more of a storytelling event.
Well, that's a great thing, because storytelling is a great thing for radio. And take us back then to what I imagine helps to shape the beginning portion of the storytelling at the show. Hawthorne, California, Hawthorne High School. Explain how and when you first got into music and knowing these guys.
Wow. Brian and I were classmates. We went to school together, not only high school, but college. Junior college, El Camino College in Los Angeles. And I said, hey, Brian, you want to start a band? I want to do some music. I think that was even it, more precisely. You want to do some music? Do, whatever that meant. And he said, sure. So I said, okay, well, why don't we steal away to the music room? We found an empty room with a piano in it. And that's how it all started.
Do you have a first reflection of being a really young person, maybe way younger than that, and music making a dent in you?
Yeah, my mom got me a ukulele when I was 6, and I just started playing it. From then on, I became enamored with guitars and mandolins. My grandfather was a musician. He played every stringed instrument, and became really interested in folk music. In high school, Brian was fascinated by the Four Freshmen and high-lows and complex harmonies. I was more interested in songs with stories in them. Kingston Trio and the Limelighters and the Weavers, of course, the granddaddies of them all, with Pete Seeger and Ronnie Gilbert. And so it evolved into exploring the folk music of a different kind called surf music. That's how our band started.
You were playing bass on their first recording, Surfin', in 1961.
Now, how did you come by that information? Now you're spoiling the whole. That was supposed to be a surprise. You did your homework.
I tried to do my homework, my brother. And just the name, the Beach Boys, do you remember who came up with it?
Well, we were initially the Pendletons because we thought it would be really cool to have a uniform based around this woolen shirt called a Pendleton. Which all the surfers wore down in California because it's cold. The water down there is cold.
Right.
And so we call ourselves the Pendletons. And the record label hated the name because it didn't mean anything to anybody except
to you.
The grunts. Only one of us really surfed, Dennis. But at any rate, the label said, that's not going to work. How about the Surfers?
Wow.
First thought. There's a group in Hawaii called the Surfers. We can't do that. So they juggled it around for a while, and then just before the record was pressed up, they said, we're going to call you the Beach Boys.
Wow.
A guy named Russ Regan, head of A&R at the record company, and that was it.
There you go. What a neat story that is, how something like that would develop. And you have a huge role in one of their very, very biggest songs, a #1 hit that you sang lead on, Help Me, Rhonda. Without taking anything away from our storytelling show that we're about to have here, but skirting around that, give us a little insight.
Well, I asked Brian about that one myself. Brian had dropped out of the touring group sometime the year before. Dropped out. He just couldn't handle the pressure of, he had a nervous breakdown, quite frankly. So we started spreading the vocals around. And it was quite smart, really, on his part. He gave Carl, for instance, the lead to Good Vibrations. So Help Me, Rhonda, same situation. Each one of us sound better in a particular key.
That's right.
Mike handled the early stuff because, quite frankly, none of the rest of us had developed a lead singing voice. We weren't really familiar with that. We were a background vocal group when we started. We just practiced harmonies. So the lead selection just evolved as the touring evolved. Mike took the initial stuff, and the rest of us learned how to sing, quite frankly.
It's an amazing story, and that's the intricacies behind something like that. As we go to wrap it up, do you have any reflections on the Wilson brothers that we don't have anymore when you think about Carl and Dennis and the things that you learned or shared with them?
Well, yeah, they were a lot more talented than I thought. They're far more gifted, like their older brother. They had that musical gift. And I didn't recognize it, though, because Brian was so overwhelmingly, he kind of cast a long shadow over all of us in that respect. But then when Brian began to recede a little bit, his brothers came to the forefront and really, really created some amazing music. And I'm still amazed.
Well, we'll be looking forward to the shows. It's Al Jardine, and he's been our guest today. He's got the gigs coming up Saturday and Sunday.
With my son, Matt Jardine.
And I remember, Matt, you brought out with you at the Brian Wilson Show in 2017 over at the Blaisdell Concert Hall.
He has captured the magic. So we're going to attempt to do these wonderful songs. And you'll hear the songs, but you just won't hear all the harmonies. But it's more like a duet. Like we'll have a couple of guitars, tambourines, maybe a little kick drum. He can play percussion to accompany us on some things, and I'll have my acoustic and electric, and it'll be nice. It'll be fun. It's
a nice venue for the strip down thing, Al. Everybody's doing it there, so don't have no fear because a lot of bands have just come through there. They do the exact same.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Rick Springfield just did the same thing. Richard Marks did that. Trying to think of some of the other cats that are
just a couple of them.
Yeah, just by themselves, even.
Oh, that's even better. Thank you for reassuring me.
A lot of cats are doing that. David Crosby did it that same way there.
Just by himself.
Yep, just by himself. And
thank you.
You'll be right in the pocket. It's a nice kind of venue too because it's small. It'll feel perfect. It's the right size for this.
It looked kind of big when I saw the pictures on the website. It looked like a cavernous place with 300 seats.
Al, when you think back to playing the National Mall in D.C., this is not going to be big. You've had the experience, so it's going to be.
Well, thank you, Dave, for your confidence.
You're welcome, and I'm sure you'll feel it when you're up there on stage. You're going to own that thing, brother.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the confidence builder.
Oh, you're welcome. Aloha, brother.
Aloha, everybody. It's Al Jardine. You may remember me from the Beach Boys or the Brian Wilson Band. You're tuned to my buddy, Dave Lawrence.
I said she put me down, but I